Good morning. This is Judy Gula from Artistic Artifacts in Alexandria, Virginia. And our Facebook Live this morning is about these Aster and Ann packs. So this is a great product that we were going to show you a little bit of information about. And today, Chris Vinh, who is normally behind the camera and is our social media maven for Artistic Artifacts, has done multiple of these packages. So the two of us are going to kind of talk about how we did it, what we were thinking. Oh, no, maybe not what we were thinking. But, you know, what did we learn? Why do we like these? Because I really believe this product is awesome. And we'll show you what it includes, and we'll show you how easy it is to assemble it. What do you want to start? You want to start with samples first and show them what they can do?
Well, I thought I'd start with the first sample because this is one I did last year when we first got the kits from WonderFil and from Aster and Ann. So I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I actually did some of my stitch meditations, and you can see that it's stitched right through the felt. I normally use felt backing on my stitchings, so if I'm doing something, I usually do use felt. So this was exactly like that. It's soft. The kit, this is actually the same kit with the shoulder straps that come in it. I chose just to make it a little pouch to carry supplies. It's got a pocket on it, but when you get the kit, it actually has everything you need to put it together. This one doesn't. So this has needles, pins. It has the pouch. The zipper's already sewn on, so you can put the pocket inside or on the outside. Machine stitch it or hand stitch, and it fits really well underneath the sewing machine needle.
The other thing before, so this is really, the fact that these are component pieces that lay flat, for hand stitching you have a little bit more maneuverability, but this is machine embroidered. So this is the mermaid on that side, then we got the fish on the pocket. So the idea that these are flat allow you to use the hoop to hold it with and be able to do the pattern on those pieces. Okay, sorry.
All right, no problem. So that was my first one that I did, and then I actually like this one. This is the Anna large pouch. It's a great size. My computer will fit inside, along with maybe some knitting, maybe some stitching. It's got a pocket inside already sewn in. The hardware comes with it. It's got a magnetic clip. And then what I chose to do was to take a panel, a block from one of our fabrics, and I hand stitched it. I misty-fused the back of the piece of fabric, did my hand stitching, and then fused the piece onto the felt. And then hand stitched the edging so that it was, adhered tightly enough to where I wouldn't feel that it would be coming off.
I like that piece. What that also tells you is that you can use some of our batik panels, that you can take a panel that's in a piece of fabric. We have this new panel that just came in. It's in the front. That's there. So you can create a panel from existing fabric, but you also can work with one of our batik art panels, which I think you did with the journal.
So this one was my most recent one, and I had done a previous quilt where I used a batik panel, and with a big gulp, I fused the elements of the panel and then cut it out. It took me a little bit of time to be able to say that I could cut the artist piece of work up, but I've used it effectively in a couple quilts. So I had a leftover fish. So I actually fused the fish to the front and then to the back. I did some machine stitching to stitch it down. So I just did some rough free motion machine quilting to stitch it down.
Jennifer's on.
Jennifer's on. Jennifer, hi. It's 1:30 a.m., right? So
Let's see if we can add her to the screen.
yeah, we have the designer of this product who is joined us on Facebook Live. So we're gonna see if we can get her on with us.
Okay.
Is she there?
It says she's being added.
Oh, awesome.
Jennifer, we're trying to add you to our video feed.
She's gonna. There we go.
Hey!
Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for getting up in the middle of the night, or maybe you haven't been asleep yet. Are you in your PJs though? So Jennifer is in Australia, so and she's designed all these packages and worked with WonderFil to be able to assemble them and fulfill them. So Chris and her fish.
So what I did was I did quilt this on. I've added hand stitching. Actually used a little bit of cheesecloth to be some of the waves behind my fish, and did some more stitching. I've used all of these are some of the WonderFil Threads Eleganza, easy to do. So another element of the batik panel is on the pocket. I always want to give recognition to the artist, so his name is there. Another element, but this bag comes with 2 pouches. It comes with an elastic strap, so you can stick something in there. And then you sew down these bags that you can put your art utensils, your thread, whatever. So it's a great project bag, very easy to assemble, and I'm sure this one will get good use as I carry my stitching around.
They also, I mean, the hardware, including the hardware, I think is brilliant, because when I first started trying to do bags and things, it was like, okay, well, where's the interface and where's the hardware? How do I don't, does it fit? Does it work? Well, they've done all of that, and it's all unique to the project, but yet if you look, some of these tags and the clips and you have brass, they're all really, really nice. So in the other thing that's nice, and I wasn't sure why she did this, but now that I've sewn my piece, I know. So inside are these pins. These are really strong pins. You're working with felt and sewing stuff together. So use these pins. They don't bend like your sewing pins. Ask me how I know that one. So they not only has she included the hardware for the package, but she has also included some tools for you to use. So my pack that I did is the backpack. So this one, what I did, because there was pieces. So the gusset is a piece on either side. So those are 2. The pocket is a piece, and then this base front and back is a piece. So I decided I was going to take this Marsha Dursey piece and I was going to do some machine stitching. Now I fused the bag and placed the fabric on top of it. I think it would have been a smarter move to fuse the fabric, because then I wouldn't have some of these raw edges on here. So I think maybe I would do that differently. Then I did some machine stitching. So everything was machined. I tried to use 50 weight thread. I also used 12 weight thread, and I just echoed the color of the panel. So I did that on the pocket, and I didn't cover it. I just chose some colors that were quick and easy. So I did this stitching on all of these pieces, and I really appreciate the fact that it becomes flat. So I really like that a lot. I did have to take the pocket off, and so it didn't quite, now it's in the front instead of the back, because I had to sew down, but it's on there. I got it. And
the grommets are already in it.
Oh, the grommets. I'm so happy I don't have to put grommets on. And so it's a cute little bag. I think it turned out okay. But I definitely, there's a couple things I would have done differently. I did have a little bit of trouble turning these corners, and that's when these really strong pins were really, really important. So that was it. So there's that one. And then this I showed when we did the tentaculum. This is all with tentaculum. It's in the same state as it was when I showed it to you on the last Facebook Live, but we're getting closer. So again, that it's flat. You can see it's all stitched. This felt is just, it really has a nice feel to it.
Yeah.
It's really it's nice to hold. It stitches really well. It's a wonderful product. So,
well, we thought we would talk about some ideas of ways you could embellish your own. So one of the first ones, and if you go to Aster and Ann, to either their Facebook page or their Instagram feed, Jennifer has lots of ideas. She's nonstop with ideas on how to do these. But she has one where she has actually sewn down these tulip pink ribbons, and they have turned out actually really cool. And so you could use cave ribbons, you could use these Renaissance ribbons, so there's lots of options of using ribbons. This is a new fabric that we have, so we think that you could take panels of that, much like on how I did this.
also, I love these tigers hugging the.
So you could use any of that. Jennifer recently did some paper piecing, hexes, but I like circles myself, and so I could easily pick these out, maybe fuse the back and cut the seashells out, and use some hand stitching on those.
Look at those colors. That works really well.
Is that Snow Day pack?
Yeah, Snow Day.
These are great little eleganza packs. They're called Snow Day Stitching. So these would be perfect for these days where we're home.
We have several options for machine threads. So there's Spotlight, which is a metallic that could be used on it. It's really, all of the threads are WonderFil. There's Splendor, Polyfast. I think this one was Polyfast. And we just featured our machine embroidery threads in our newsletter that went out on Wednesday. So take a look at that, and we kind of brought those to your attention. They work in a regular machine. You don't only have to be using them for machine stitching, but they're good to know the embroidery. I brought back some fabulous trims from India, which again could be an accent or it could be the whole thing. So trims are really easy. You're just stitching and stitching and lining them up. And even just if you used them at the bottom of something or at the top, it would be wonderful. So we have our collage packs.
These inspiration packs give you some fabrics, some trims, some colorways. You could easily do, much like I did my stitch meditation piece.
Here you go.
You could cut out some pieces and do some borrow stitching, some sashiko, just some nice slow stitching. Our film mistress today is actually the person who puts these wonderful color packs together. She does the dyeing, and Celia picks the color. So Sharon, what color is this one's?
Summer, I think.
Summer, sun, and sky.
Okay.
Summer, sun, and sky. So those would be really fun to go on one.
Yes. Then the same idea with, you could really pick some patterns. These are our Aboriginal inspired fabrics. But if you look at the patterns, you can pick a motif and fuse it to the piece. And I go to machine stitching more than hand stitching today. And Chris is more hand stitching, but both of them work. Free motion, all of that is working. So there you have some examples of some of the Australian fabric and being able to use those.
Well, and we also have a lot of the Sue Spargo, the pre-cut kits, and instead of putting it on a piece of wool backing, or you could put it on the backing and then stitch that on the piece, but you know, it's another way to use it. You can get the wools, you can get the threads.
There's also kits by Wendy, she has little like birds and vans. So there's several little ready-made things. And along with that idea was Chris made these bags. So she took the hand stitched sashiko and incorporated them into these type of bags. But again, it would work fabulously for any of these Aster and Ann pieces as well.
I just happen to have one on my sewing table.
Do you now?
Surprise, surprise.
And along with that, we have these little pieces of fabric that are kind of Asian inspired, and you could be stitching patterns with those. And this one just happens to include a little bit of indigo thread. Sharon, do we have any questions so far?
Questions about the notebook cover, what will fit inside of it, and whether the hardware is attached to that so that the machine can handle it.
Okay.
Chris.
So the notebook cover with the instructions is I hand stitched the hardware on. And the directions show where it's far enough away that I could easily get that on. I used my walking foot because it was multiple layers. The other thing that I did, which I think is what Judy learned from hers, was I actually folded the edge under so that it was caught in the stitching. But no, the hardware does come with it, but it was far enough back, and then when I was stitching, I just pinned it so that it didn't get in the way.
Here's actually a kit that's empty. So these are the pieces.
What was the dimension on that? So closed, it's 7.5 by 9. So I mean, the picture shows it's got some tools in it, you know, little threads. I would actually probably put my threads. I would put, you know, I could stick my needles in here. It's a little pocket, but I could actually just thread my needle in. If I had anything else I was carrying. I take my hand stitching with me when I travel, or when I used to travel. So this would be an easy way to stick it in my travel bag and be able to pull it out. If you're working on small pieces, you could easily put your piece folded up and sit in there.
Okay. All right, so this is, again, you can see how the pieces are all flat and everything is included in there, so you can work on them independently. And then the hardware's here, and you're going to sew it on. So we got a question about the hardware, the straps on the backpack. So let me tell you the easy way to do it. And it does come separate. Sorry for the plastic sound. So this piece, so here's your straps, and you can see that they have been punched. So my suggestion is to not do it the way I did, but do it, I would hand stitch this on. And she gives you very nice instructions on where to place it and how to do it. You have the needle, I would double your thread, and I would hand stitch these. I did sew them on with my sewing machine, and I used I think I started with a 90 needle and it wasn't big enough. I went to 100 and it was better, but I broke a couple needles because I was pulling. That's usually why you break needles. So I would say if I did this again, I would hand stitch this type of thing in there. And then these.
And I hand stitch mine on.
And then this gets sewn, which is the other end of the strap. This gets sewn into the side.
Got a question about what machine needle you use.
Okay, I used a 100 when I did this. Normally I use a 90. I tend to be a free motion sewer, and 90 is my favorite needle. It's a 90 embroidery needle, and that's kind of my go-to for everything. So when I was doing my stitching
on here, I was using a 90 needle. And so I would have a 50 weight thread in the top and I had deco bob in the bottom. But when I went to a 12 weight thread in the top, I had to go to a 50 weight bobbin. So you have to watch some of those. It worked perfectly fine. I had to make no adjustments on my Bernina 770 and it worked out really well. But that's my needle. And we sell Schmetz and we use Schmetz. That's the type of brand. But I mean, how would you like to figure out how to create this hardware? Not me, not me. And then you even have the drawstring, and again, the grommets are already in there.
And I think with the instructions, what I've learned, having made a couple of these now, Jennifer has the instructions. What I did learn is, as with many patterns, you've got to read through the entire piece before, so that you think through what hand stitching or what machine stitching are you doing? Do you need to do that before you put your hardware on or after you put your hardware on?
And she also has YouTube videos on this. So I actually went when I was having a little hard time with the gusset. So I was like, okay, let's go see how the expert's doing it. And it's a quick video, very well done. So the product is supported by the great instructions, the hardware, and then the YouTube videos on top of that, and Instagram with ideas and things that you can do with the packs.
And she's got the YouTube, her site and all of that is actually on the instructions. So it's not like you've got to go searching for the YouTube videos.
Yeah, it was great. It was easy. We talked about ribbon. Ribbon's really great. This is a ribbon that's canvas. So if you wanted something that was different patterns, we sell this as a bundle. So you can always put those on. The Indian trims, we said. I know. And I did this, thank you. This is the whole backpack I did with a half a yard of fabric, and then I still have some left over. So it would be hand stitching.
So is Jennifer still on? Jennifer, do you have any suggestions for us or ideas? Oh, we can't hear you. Just type them in, Jennifer. We're just so glad that you joined us to see how we're using your product and how much we actually love it. We actually met Jennifer at Quilt Market.
Yes.
A year and a half ago, and we just fell in love, one with her, but also with her products. So,
and she's doing wood block printing on the bag.
We
didn't put it. So you got to go check out her Instagram because she did some great wood block printing with our Artistic Artifacts textile paint. And so we were really excited to see how that works. So there definitely is a partnership there and support on both sides of the globe. I mean, it's really awesome, this global world we live in now.
I think Jennifer's actually opened a shop is it Melbourne now? Since she's not traveling with WonderFil like she was before, she's opened a local shop. So all my textile friends who are in Australia can purchase her products there. So you don't have to worry about international shipping. She has the products on that side of the globe.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments or anything?
A question asking how hard it was to sew hand sew the closure on the notebook.
Not hard at all.
No.
It was very easy. I just did a back stitch. The holes are actually as
Punched.
Judy showed, they're already punched in, so it was very easy.
Yeah.
And I just used the same needle I was using for, I used the needle that she supplies in the kit.
Okay.
So it was a little bit longer, so, but in the kit you get 2 needles, and so I used those to do the hand stitching. I use my regular chenille needles that I do for all my other hand stitching for the embellishment part. Any other questions?
All right.
All right.
Products in stock.
Does the Llewellyn large come with the shoulder straps? Because I prefer the
large. This one, yeah?
Yes, it does. This is, yeah.
Yeah.
So that the Luella has the closure front, and so you can see she's done some circles on there, like we were talking about the Australian fabric. The Rory satchel actually has a flap that goes over the front, so it's a nice hip bag.
And then the small clutch has just a wrist strap.
And this is the Georgia clutch, and that actually has a front flap, and that has a shoulder strap as well. So lots of suggestions depending on what type of bag you like to carry, how you're going to use it.
Yes. So, and we would love to see you post what you do with these Aster and Ann bags on our Creative Minds. So Artistic Artifacts, Creative Minds is on Facebook group. It's a group. You need to just apply. It's an easy couple questions to become part of that community. And we love to have you post those. And then also we have the Facebook page. Please follow us on Instagram, Pinterest, and we will post this video on YouTube. Shop online, artisticartifacts.com, 24/7 in your PJs or not. And
Thanks, Jennifer, for joining us.
Yes, appreciate it.
Nice to see you.
Thanks. Bye.